everyone, today's video is going to be an update on my on my entire makeup collection rolling project pan. So I started this project over 2 years ago, and I randomly drew out 10 items from my makeup collection, and I started using them, and it's just been a going, you know. I have made a couple of changes where I do more updates, and that makes me use the products a little bit more, but I definitely still have a ways to go. I want to use up 10 items, and then I will start over and draw 10 brand new items. It is a rolling project pan, so once I use up one item, I draw a new one. I have 9 empties so far, so I think that's one of the reasons. Like, I feel like I'm so close. Sorry, I don't want this to go away. I'm so close to like hitting that 10 goal, and then you know, being able to draw 10 new items, which is really exciting. So I haven't hit it yet, but I'm gonna update y'all and let y'all see my progress. I feel like my hair is a little much today. I don't know about it, but you know, we're just gonna let it do what it wants. So the first item I have, I actually drew in last time, and it's the Makeup Forever palette, and it's the blue eyeshadow. So last time, I can show y'all my progress. I was like there. So I've used it a couple of times since then. These pictures were taken November 10th, so I haven't updated y'all in a while. Hopefully you can see there is like the slightest bit of dip, just the slightest. I have this in my crease today. This is like a very thick shadow. I used it pretty recently to kind of do like a Yennefer green eyeshadow look from The Witcher. I liked the way it turned out. I do like this shadow a lot. I think it's really pretty. This palette hasn't lost any weight. It still weighs 199 grams like it did last time. And I think the visible progress is minimal, but like I said, these are really huge eyeshadows. These are 1.8 grams, and a typical like MAC shadow is 1.5. So these are extra large, and they're really hard packed, but I am getting some use out of it, and that's one of the main goals of this project. It is to use up items, but it's also just to make sure that I'm using everything in my collection. That's why I do this random drawing. Next, for the Tarte Magic Star palette, this is where I was last time on that Getaway shade. So you can see that there was a pretty big dip. But today, we have Pan. So it's this shade right here. It's a really nice kind of transition-y shade. I like this shade a lot. This palette in all has actually lost a gram since last time. I brought this palette with me when I was traveling for like Christmas, and it's one of the only things I did bring, so I did get a lot of use out of it. Obviously you can see I've got Pan on that Getaway shade, which is pretty substantial progress. These shadows are pretty small. I like that Getaway shade a lot as a transition shade, like I've already said. The issue is I have another transition shade in the same project, so I'm trying to decide, like, use them both, but that's also meaning I'm not using either one as much. I don't know which one I could use up faster, so maybe you have an idea. This is a lot. Let's see how big these shadows are. These are 0.82 grams, which is relatively small, and they're not very hard pressed. So, I mean, you can see how much progress I've made on that. Like I said, this whole palette has lost a gram, and I think that's probably just from using a lot of it over the Christmas holidays. So next, I have this Stila tin pan. Oh, and I've got that as a transition shade on my upper lash line. And I have this shade, which is called Cassis. Let me show you. Last time, I was there. Now I'm here. I don't think there's a lot of visible progress there. I've used it as an eyeliner a couple of times. That's pretty much my favorite way to use this. It's a very dark shade, and it can look really patchy on the lids. So I have it today actually in my outer corner. I try to do a different look. I'm not sure how I feel about it, but you know, I want to choose all of these shades. So I have it on my outer corner. You can kind of see that's a little patchy, but that's what we've done. So there we go. There's a teeny weeny dip in it. It's nothing super significant. So we're gonna keep going with that. And this palette has not lost any weight. It weighs the same. Next, I have my L'Oreal Color Riche Quad. I'm pretty sure I haven't used this since my last update. I have it today on my lower lash line. I drew in that Makeup Forever here. Let me show y'all actually a side-by-side comparison of the progress. You know, I have a dip. It's definitely there. This shade is pretty similar to the Makeup Forever one, just not as good and pigmented. It's kind of like a drugstore worse version. So, you know, I think that's one of the reasons why I haven't used it very much. I have it on today, like I said. I feel like I could hit pan on it, but I don't know about using it up anytime soon. I think I have 3 things that I think is going to be my next empty, and this is one of them. Next, I have the Polish Choice Blush It On Contour Kit, and I'm panning a blush in there called Soft Rose. So this is where I was last time, and this is where I am this time. I think there's a little bit more pan, maybe a little bit, like near the top of the pan, like up there, yeah, a little. I use this a lot as a blush. I also used it as an eyeshadow the other day. It's not my favorite as an eyeshadow, but I was like, I need a pink matte shade, so I used it. I do like it. Like I said, I have it on today. It's a nice blush. This palette has, where is it? It has lost another gram. It's at 77 grams, and it wasn't 78 last time. Again, I did wear this bronzer a lot while I was away, and I use this, but depending on like my mood, I will use any of these 4 blushes. I use this one the most, but like if I'm doing a really warm tone look, I'll grab for that blush. And this highlighter and bronzer do have little dips in it. I mean, nothing as substantial as that, but they've got some dips. Next, I have the Kat Von D Esperanza palette in the shade Dog Roses. So that's where I was last time, and this is where I am today. It's this shade on the end. I don't know if you can really see much of a difference. There's a really large dip in this shade. I feel like I'm gonna hit pan any day now. It's still super pigmented, super creamy. This really nice like orangey copper. It's what I have on my inner corner today. I've obviously used up one of the shades in here. This was a nude, but I used it up. So we're making progress, you know. I like this shade. I don't feel like I use it as much as I should. I kind of forget about it, honestly, but maybe I'll use it a little bit more. And this one has lost a gram as well. It went from 114 to 113, but I have come in for this really pretty matte red a few times. If I want like a warm tone look, I like the way that looks in the crease. So again, the goal is to use up these specific shades, but it's really just to get use out of my whole makeup collection, and I know I've been using this palette a lot more because it's in this, what do you call it? Project, even though it's been that project for a long time, maybe since the beginning, not sure. Next, I have the Geek Chic Cosmetics Awesome Mix Pigment, and this one weighs the same. I don't use this very much. I have it today. It's on my upper lash line. It's a really, really dark brown with some gold shimmer in it. And I've said this before, but the issue is that shimmer, like as you blend it, it goes away in like a really not very flattering patchy way. I use it with a pencil brush and that helps. I've tried packing it on my lid. I've tried wetting it. I've tried using a glitter primer. None of that's super great. So I don't really like this very much, but I'm using it. Next, for the Tarteist Pro palette, I have the shade Edgy. This is where I was last time. That's a very dark shot picture, isn't it? My bad. If I could open this, it would be helpful. So this is where I am today. So I've obviously already had pan on it. I don't know, maybe the pan's grown a little bit. I know that the way that this metallic like case is not super helpful. I think I've probably made a little bit of progress. I have it in my eyebrows today. It works okay, but it's really a lot more warm. I like this shade, this smoked shade in my brows quite a bit. So you can see the difference. This is deeper and a lot cooler toned than this edgy shade that I'm actually panning. So there's that, but I like it. Like if I need a brown liner, then this is what I'll go for. And that it says it's lost 2 grams, and I measured it a couple of times just to make sure that was correct, and seems like it is. So yeah, I guess I've just been using that more than I think, and again, using that whole palette, because I go in for the shades that I'm panning, but I will use the whole palette occasionally. Next, for the Urban Decay Smoked palette, I have the shade Freestyle. So this is where I was last time. This is where I am today. So the pan has grown, especially near the top. Again, this is a really nice transition shade. I like it, but I'm having a hard time using this and Getaway. Getaway is a little deeper, as you can tell. I don't know how big these pans are, but I know that this shadow is like a lot more hard pressed in here. But I also feel like the pan's so much bigger. I've used a lot more of it. So I don't know. I have a hard time. I go back and forth between them, honestly. And I know that if I just focused on one, I'd use it up quicker. So I don't know. I don't know what to do. And then last but not least, I have this Stila Eyes Are the Window palette, the shade Emerald. And this is where I was last time. This is where I am today. So that pan's probably grown a teeny bit, I would say. I use this as a liner. Again, very similar to the purple shade in the other Stila palette. It's just really dark and really patchy. I do have it on my lids today, and I'm not loving the way it looks, but it's there. You know, you gotta try new things and new looks, even if it's not necessarily what you'd like, usually. So there we go. I've made some progress, and this still weighs the same. So I'm gonna update y'all next month. I'll update you every month until I have another empty, and then we'll start over. I don't know. I think it's between this Freestyle shade, because I can use it every day as a transition. This Getaway shade, for this exact same reason. It's a great transition. Or this blush by Polish Choice, because it does have a lot of pan on it. So I think what I really need to do is I need to focus on either the Getaway or the Freestyle shade. I think if I can focus on one, I'm a lot more likely to use one up sooner. And I think this Getaway shade, it's just a lot less hard pressed. So maybe that's what I'm going to do. Maybe I'm going to focus on Getaway for the next month, and we'll address what's going on next month and see if, I don't think I'll use it up in a month, but I'm definitely going to use all of these items. Again, every time I do an update, I use them, which is why I've started doing monthly updates instead of just updating you when I have an empty. But I like it. I really am enjoying this project. I know that some people think it's too long and think my progress isn't as great as they would like, and I understand that, but you know, it's something I enjoy, and that's kind of the point, at least for me. So I hope you enjoyed this video. As always, if you have any questions, requests, suggestions, or comments, go ahead and leave those down below, and I'll see y'all real soon. Bye.